Greetings, this is Bradford Donald Keller Townsend, Tuesday, October 16th, the year 2018 of the Common Era, and I would like to bring up something I've just always thought was cool, and that is Occam's Razor, spelled O-C-C-A-M apostrophe S, Occam's. There's a really good article here on Explorable, and I'll read that, and then I'd like to comment a little bit because it's relative to my previous video. Occam's razor is a principle first developed by the Franciscan friar and philosopher William of Occam. Whilst it is likely that the philosophy was posthumously attributed to him, as it was based upon medieval philosophy, it seems to be the result of his minimalist lifestyle. Occam's razor is more commonly described as the simplest answer is the most often correct. Although this is an oversimplification, the correct interpretation is that entities should not be multiplied needlessly. Researchers should avoid stacking information to prove a theory if a simpler explanation fits observations. Occam's razor is the process of paring down information to make finding the truth easier. In science, it is getting rid of all the assumptions that make no difference to the predictions of the hypothesis. If you have a few hypotheses that could explain an observation, it is usually best to start with the simplest one. Occam's razor is not part of the reasoning process as such because it makes no difference of the relative strength of a theory. It is a heuristic maxim, commonly known as a rule of thumb, guiding research down the easiest course. In fact, the most complex hypothesis prediction may be the correct one. But it is this way. If a research foundation is giving out money for research, is it going to go for the complex and expensive research program or the cheaper and most likely explanation? Science often works in a process of leaps. So even if the first option is proved wrong, the next one may achieve results. One famous example of Occam's razor in action is found in conspiracy theories surrounding the NASA moon landings. Many conspiracy theorists believe that the first moon landing was staged and filmed in a studio, part of an elaborate hoax. Their justification relies upon many twisted and convoluted theories, whereas the NASA argument is fairly straightforward. The conspiracy line of reasoning contains too many suppositions. If this happened, then this may have happened. Too many ifs is a sign that a statement needs Occamizing and clarifying. Therefore, using Occam's razor, the NASA argument should be regarded as correct. This is not the same as saying that it is proved, only that it is the best to investigate the simplest theory first. Occam's razor is often at the root of paradigm shift, where an established theory is replaced by a simpler alternative that also fits the data. For example, Ptolemy's epicycles were replaced by a simpler theory which explained that the data without multiplying elements. There are some criticism of Occam's razor. For example, it may not always be possible to determine which of a number of conflicting theories is correct, without the benefit of hindsight. As the turn of the century, Einstein's supporters and believers in ether could not have known the simplest theory for the nature of light. Both hypotheses fitted the observed data. The only Michelson-Morley experiment swung opinion toward special relativity. In addition, it is difficult to pare away information without risk of throwing out something crucial to the theory. Occam's razor should be a guide and not a rule. I'd just like to add on my previous video on natural philosophy, thinking of my great-great-grandpa. Um, if you take a rocket and it is fired, its engines in outdoor space, the rocket will be propelled, and we have a theory for that. They threw out the ether um, because of the Michelson-Morley experiment. Um, if there was ether and it was moving in a certain direction, then that should have been able to be um, registered, observed in the experiment, which was super sensitive, and it did not show a flowing of an analogous fluid. You could also kind of flip that around and take the obverse and say, well, if you take a vacuum and put a inflated balloon in there, and then you use a system to electrically or just manually pull the magnet off and let the balloon, it will zip around inside the vacuum chamber, even though there's no air for the balloon to push on. And you could say that whatever it's pushing on is the ether. Um, I'm not, I would be out there if I was to say that explanation. That is not what's accepted and taught in schools of physics and engineering the world over. I'm just saying that there's the same phenomena can be observed and have different explanations. And to some degree, it's a collegiate uh, situation where it's just professors, people who are in authority within the scientific world, as it is a big institution, um, and they just vote and say we like this interpretation and theory over another, and we prefer this recipe that we're going to plug into this suite of solutions for a certain set of problems. Um, Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.